All right, welcome everyone to another spotlight session. Today, I am so excited because I'm talking to Bill, who is a winner from one of my challenges from previous month, and also who is the writer of the great publication, The Supernatural, on Substack, which is a fiction and also one of my favorite fiction genres from them all, actually. Welcome, Bill. I'm so happy to have you.
Hi, Miss Yana. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nice to be here for
Nice to
sure.
have you. Yes, I'm sure we're gonna talk about a lot of interesting stuff today. Can you, for those people who don't yet know you, so we know each other from Medium, and I'm sure a lot of people already know you from there as well, and also on Substack. But for those of them who don't really know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about you and your background?
Sure, sure. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona with my partner Carlos and our cat Skittles, who's somewhere around. I work full time at Discover, and writing has always been a passion of mine since I was 12. I've always been fascinated with the supernatural and scary stories. So I've been writing off and on since I was 12 in this genre. I seriously started coming back into my writing about a year ago. I just enjoy all things scary and spooky. When I'm not writing or working, I'm reading or watching, some supernatural shows or other shows too. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when we were discussing actually when we were kind of both moving to Substack. I think it we started thinking about it more or less at the same time when Medium went, different, became different at some
Yeah.
point last year. So yeah, so I remember we were discussing about you and your Substack, and you were really thinking about some other topics, but then eventually you decided to come up with what's actually your passion, and that's great. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's what I like to do a lot is writing about this stuff, for
I think
sure.
that's really important because when you create something that's really close to your heart and you love what you're doing, then you put so much more energy and also a different type of energy into it, and that's how you can more easily make it grow. I know
Yeah.
some people say, forget about writing from your passion, it has to be helpful and so on, and that's very true, but fiction actually is a very good example how it can also engage people and create amazing communities, and
Mhm.
definitely monetize that as well. There are so many ways to do it, and the reason why is it's because it's also helpful. It's just it's solving different types of problems, those emotional problems that not many of us actually can understand, because with emotions it's not really but it's a great
Yeah,
example how you don't always have to write about solving problems.
right. I agree. And there are some things I write about when the publication to help writers of the supernatural too, because it is geared towards helping them out. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mix of both, you
No,
know?
yeah, I also wanted to ask you about this, so because I think it's great. So you basically have the best of both worlds. So, so you have the fiction part, and then you also have the non-fiction part where you basically write about helping writers who are actually fiction writers. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
specific, where you basically, yeah, also help solve their problems and their challenges, and you actually create a community about this. But yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about it? So it's just not,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, so Vault the Supernatural is a publication that's really in the beginning, it was going to be for people that are supernatural readers, which it is, but I'm gearing more towards writers of the supernatural. And in my articles, I do a combination of two types of articles. I feel the first type of article that I share is like one of these many scary stories that are true. Like right now, I'm writing the 10 most scariest places in Arizona, because this is where I live. And I did one on, oh, it's the hotel something. I can't think of the full name, but I did a post on it the other day.
Yeah.
And in those little articles that are based on truth, I do a writing prompt for
Okay.
supernatural writers. Like, take this idea, just gave you an idea, and take this and expand with it, to make a new supernatural story for you that you can expand and write on, because we all get stumped as writers. So I try to provide, other ideas for writers. That's
Yeah.
one type of format I do. And then I create templates
Yeah.
for my writers,
Right.
dealing with characterization and plotting and things like that, that I've created. Uh, and I
Yeah.
think that
That.
those are helpful because I use them a lot myself to,
Yeah.
you need to.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's really, really, really good strategy. I also, a lot of the things that are very tangible in my publication as well are tools and templates and things that I use in my daily work. So I created for myself. I test them and then I give them to my paid members, and it works really well. And that's something
Mhm,
that actually makes a Substack very tangible, and that's what also I believe it helps grow. Definitely.
mhm.
But before we continue, I'm really curious. You said those stories are based on truth, right?
Yeah, I researched them,
Yeah.
like the different scary
Yes.
places around. And for example, I wish I could pull up my notes. Let me see if I could do this without looking
Yes.
crazy. I have it in my OneNote here. The story I did the other day, it's a hotel here, and that's another thing that I have as a goal for the vault is to do live walkthroughs some of these places so that I could share with my subscribers
I think that.
what goes on in some of these places, like, maybe a supernatural occurrence or something. I mean, it's not guaranteed to happen, but I'd like to add in that element. But I'm looking at the post I did last week that I was talking about. Okay, Hotel Congress. Okay, so Hotel Congress is a hotel that has been around for over 100 years.
Right.
Uh, it's here in Tucson.
Right.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of negativity in it. In this hotel, gangsters and people used to go in there and
Yeah.
and play card games and all, and a lot of them, would get, there's been a lot of murders and suicides. So there's been a lot of documented supernatural occurrences in there, ghosts showing up at the foot of people's bed. They're running out in the middle of the night. There's a ghost that goes in there, and because she killed herself many years ago, and in the room that she haunts, room 242, that's where she killed herself. She goes in and she'll go and whisper in your ear and do all kinds of crazy things, and people have seen dark shadows and cold areas of the room in certain spots. They've seen visions. There's all kinds of ghosts in there for sure. So
Now,
I thought,
now I thought everything you do is just fiction, but now you got me scary.
well, it is fiction, but I mean, I also research real supernatural stuff too to give people other ideas that they can expand and make into their own fictional story, because fiction really is based on a sliver of truth.
It's always inspired by real events, I would say.
Yeah. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
actually, if you do this, like if you go and visit one of those places, you could actually serialize this in your Substack. It could become as a something like a real show. It would attract
That's
many
what I
people.
was thinking. Yeah,
Great
doing
idea.
lives and everything. Yeah, because yeah, it's one of the goals of the vault here. Me and the Gremlins have been busy working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you have to be careful. You have to be careful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Plenty of holy water, of course.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, and holy water and silver, and
Yes. Yes. And crosses.
and yeah. Does garlic help? How do you, what do
Yes.
you? Okay, what do you think? Are you sure?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a thought. It's a friend of mine brought it up to me about a month or two ago. She's into this stuff. She's actually one of my free subscribers. It's a
Okay.
friend from work, and she thought, we got so many different haunted locations here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Uh, and I know of other places too, like back home. I
Yeah.
did a piece on that back on my Substack about the Eastern State Penitentiary. I don't know if you ever heard of that location,
No.
but it's one of the most haunted prisons. It's no longer open, for prison stuff, but it's people go in there. It's a tour place now, but it's very haunted. Al Capone lived in there,
All right.
and a bunch of other notorious gangsters, and there was a lot of torture. Anytime you have a lot of torture, you're going to see
Yeah.
spirits and things of that nature.
All right. All right. Yeah. No, now you got me scary. Really.
Sorry.
No, no, I think it's gonna be a great series. Actually, you can film that and post it like a series on Substack. That's gonna be
That's
huge.
what I was thinking. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Right. What else do you have on Substack? On your Substack?
Uh, Yeah, so yesterday I was doing different weekly meetings. Some I was doing on Zoom, but that really wasn't getting us much activity. So I brought it to the live app.
Yeah.
And I was scheduling a lot of different meetings, but I think what we're going to do here at the Vault, because we did a meeting yesterday with Mr. Mark Watson, who is the author of Crybaby. And I will put that out because I feel that his book is really good. I strongly recommend people grab it. It's on Amazon, but we did an interview with him
Yeah.
and had so much engagement on that interview that we're going to do a weekly podcast. I'm tentatively thinking of calling it Supernatural Sundays,
Right.
and we're going to discuss anything horror from movies
Yeah.
to haunted locations. I think I have to discuss more with him, but we kind of already discussed it, but just some other final details because I was really impressed with the engagement that we had at the Vault yesterday on it. So I think that's going to be some really impressive stuff for our subscribers for sure.
For
You
sure,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we
That
talked about a
signal
lot of different things.
always, of course, and that's really a good example. So you basically, when you're growing and when you're in the beginning, of course, you have to test all. There is no bad idea. Everything has to be tested, and once you get more engagement on some of your ideas, then that's the signal. So you have to
Yes,
definitely,
that is the signal because that post that I
yeah,
telling you about, I right before we came to this meeting, I'm still getting likes on
awesome.
that post. I think I'm sure there's probably at least 10 likes on that post. So
That's
that
good.
to me is a signal that people like that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely,
It's
definitely.
all about trial and error, I think.
Yeah. And what's and you still don't, how many subscribers do you have?
Right now we are at, and I gained two yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
One from the podcast, and
Oh,
another one from my notes. But right
okay.
now, Vault of the Supernatural is sitting at 87 subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my point. You're just starting right now. You're even below 100, and you have this type of engagement on just one post, which is amazing, I think, which is really, really amazing.
Hmm.
For sure, you have to explore more how to like capitalize on that, explore more.
Yes.
So yeah,
Oh
to
yeah, I agree. And
more.
I know one of my struggles has been, and that's why I'm working on a few things, and I revised my writing schedule. I think I shared some things with you.
Yeah.
It's the consistency, so I'm just working on things like that because I know that's very important on here to show up and write and share, stick to the schedule that you told your subscribers that you will stick to.
Yes, yes.
And what I do try to do is, if there's going to be a change in the publication schedule, I'll send out a post so that people know.
Yeah.
Um, there will be a post probably coming today at some point about just sticking with the one meeting that I was telling you about, because I think that meeting there with Mr. Mark, is going to be really, uh, it's going to be good for the vault, I feel, because there was a lot of engagement. But yeah, there's just, yeah, there's just it's a work in progress, and I'm happy with the 87 subscribers
Yeah,
for sure.
sure. Yeah, of course. Um, that's how basically you learn, and that's how you shorten actually the learning curve, because when you get to the things that are working well and then you explore more from them, then you build, yeah, like you stack on top of growth. That's the best way,
Mhm.
I think. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also listening to your audience, it's really the one of the best practices. But can you share some other best practices from your experience up to now on Substack?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I agree that daily note posting, like what you suggested, does help because what I'm starting to see now
Yeah.
is that I'm not getting huge, but I'm starting to get activity on
It
notes
takes
I
some
posted a
time, but
few
it
a
works.
few weeks ago.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, because I was starting to get a little discouraged, and I thought, am I just talking to
Normal.
the air here? I feel like, because I worked in a school,
Yeah.
so I always compare it to that. Like when I had some of my kids that I was helping in the classroom, I felt like, am I talking to you? Are you listening? Or am
Yes.
I just talking to the air? I feel like I'm back in the classroom, but
Yeah.
I'm starting to see some results, is what I'm saying. Like notes that were written a few weeks ago and are getting traction. And there's one individual that likes every single note that I put out there. So I think it takes time on this platform to get the subscribers
Yes.
and to get the engagement. It doesn't happen right away.
Yeah.
I am starting to see posts that I've written, some of those are getting likes and comments, here and there. So I've learned that it's just it's like building a garden on here. It's like growing a garden. You put the little seeds in, then you water it, and then hopefully the sun makes it, the plants nourish and everything, and the and get everything together. And it just takes time. It doesn't just spring up,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's a process. I was talking to my friend Janice. You know my friend Janice. She's been on my Substack videos before, and she actually is on here now too. She created her own account on here to build her publication, but she said the same thing, Bill. It's not overnight. It takes time. Everything just takes time. And my grandmother used to have a famous saying, may she rest in peace, that Rome wasn't built in a day. So that's what I'm learning for the most part, that
Yeah.
you got to dedicate your soul and spirit to it as much as you can. I try to have a schedule,
Yeah.
and I think those are big takeaways for me, that I just have to remain consistent, stick to the schedule that I have, and just show up for my subscribers and readers and provide quality content.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's valid for any type of business. I also see it in my 9 to 5 as well, because in there, it's a big company already growing and selling a lot, but you
Hmm.
always want to start something, and you want to start it. You want to see fast results, especially when leadership wants, have huge expectations, so you have to deliver.
Exactly.
And
You have to
we have
treat
this,
this,
like a
I
joke
think,
we have, that is when you say that it takes 9 months for a mother to deliver a baby, but 9 mothers cannot deliver in 1 month. That's it's just.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing I like to say, which I've started to retrain my mind with writing and creating and all that kind of thing that falls in this realm, you have to treat it like a job.
Exactly.
Job. If you don't treat it like a job and just consider it a hobby, it's not going to go anywhere, I think. So it's just your mindset that you have to have. And I'm starting to slowly learn that I have to have a schedule. I
Yeah.
have to do certain things, just like I do at my 9 to 5 job. I have to log in, take my calls, read procedures, stay updated, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just because it's on my own time. Sometimes I think we think oh, well, I'll do it later, or, and I know I'm a big offender with that too. So I'm just learning structure and
That's
treat
the
it like
tough
a job.
actually right there, because you have to, I also realized that you have to treat it like a job. And
Hmm.
the thing is that you're on your own, and there are times when you say, okay, I can do it a little bit later. And that's the problem,
Hmm.
because you don't do that at your job. You have to.
No, no, if you did that at your job, you'd be going within the hour.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah,
and that's the type of commitment and like a non-negotiable like agreement that you have to have with yourself in order to make it happen. And
exactly. And I'm far from perfect with all that. That's why I constantly revamp my schedule and my goals or different things I have written down. And as I say, it's a work in progress. It's not perfect. I'm still working on it.
yeah,
And we're always evolving and learning.
yes, yes, right. You also have already paid subscribers, right? Correct. Am I?
I did have one, but we don't have that one dropped off. We just have our free ones, which we're fine with that for now.
Okay.
And we know it takes time.
Takes time, of course, of course. What are your paid subscribers getting as benefit?
Right now, our my paid subscribers are gonna get let me go over here. They're gonna get access to all the stuff that's behind the paywall.
Yeah.
For example, I'm trying to think. All the templates I've made are
Okay.
behind the paywall, so they get access to those awesome templates that I've created. They also get access to a building community here of other supernatural writers,
Yeah.
once we have enough people, of course. Uh, we were having some of those other meetings, but there wasn't much engagement on those, so I'm going to update those benefits today, but I'm putting a pause on some of those. Everyone that's a free member is going to get access to the Supernatural Sunday podcast. But as far as the paid subscribers, they'll get the templates.
Yeah.
We're going to have the chat, of course, open and available for our paid members once we have some of those. Um, there's other plans I have for future benefits, to provide our paid subscribers. But right now, I'm trying to keep it structured and a little easy so
I don't want to
keep
reveal.
up with all that.
It's gonna be once at a time. So
Yes, 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 I agree.
okay, okay, okay.
Templates, I think they'll like because I feel they're good templates to use
Yeah.
to help you with different things with your writing, whatever you're struggling with. I even have one to help with focus, which is really a struggle of mine that I struggle with is focus. So, there's a lot of things I think that they will gain value from with that.
No, and I also think if you do that series when you visit those spooky places, actually live
Mhm.
and film that and record it and share it like a series, I think it's also gonna be a big thing. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing that when we have paid subscribers, I have something called Writer Showcase
All
where
right.
we're going to advertise their stories and their profiles, their kudoses, any books they've published.
Yeah.
Also going to circulate any stories that they're writing out to the community. Want to get them exposure. That's a paid member benefit, you know.
I
Uh,
think that's really powerful. I think not many people are doing that on Substack for fiction writers, especially. I think nobody is doing it. So I think it's huge, definitely. Um,
yeah, I really think when you're starting out, or even if you do already have some people, you always want to evolve and continue growing your community. I mean, your exposure to your writing. So that's one of the biggest things I have for the Vault, is getting their writing out. Anyone that's a paid member, share it with other members in our community because we have 87 subscribers, so that's like 87 eyes
of
in
course,
front of your work.
yes,
You know what I mean? That you've written.
of course,
And
of course.
then if you have the writer showcase, those 87 eyes can see,
Yeah.
all your all your content in there, and follow you and
And it
engage.
doesn't matter that it's a small audience. Actually, it can also be a benefit because a small audience is also a very much engaged audience. So
Yes, I agree.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, because you could
We
post.
saw that yesterday.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because you could go and create some kind of a collaboration with a newsletter, which is like, I don't know, 10,000, 50,000 subscribers and get 10 likes. But then you can also go with somebody like you who has about even less than 100 subscribers and get even more than 10 likes and engagement out of it. So it really depends on the quality of the audience. And I think you're building something great already.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Substack has to have more, I don't know, activities towards attracting fiction writers because I think this business is really huge and it's not really very well presented yet on Substack, which is
Yeah, I agree.
actually for you, it means it's also a huge opportunity right now, growth opportunity, because
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
to be one of the first.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's huge, and it'll, bring hopefully writers of the supernatural. And I also want to add, Miss Yana, in the beginning we were focusing, and we are still focusing on supernatural and horror writers, but I
Yeah.
also added a new section a few weeks ago called the Fiction Writers Corner, because I also want to help other writers.
Other
It doesn't have
fiction. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be supernatural horror. We're gonna
Yeah.
add some posts there for them so that they can get value too.
I think
Yeah.
it's a great idea. Yeah, the power
Yeah.
of the community. I believe the communities are the next, big thing online.
Mm.
And it's so this socializing type of thing. It was huge with social media, but now it's moving towards more smaller and more focused, like niche and topic oriented communities, and also paid communities, which
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely the next thing of the internet and an opportunity to monetize online.
Sure.
And the best thing is that you could definitely maintain it really, really easily. It's not so much of a big thing. Of course, you have to have a good structure, and maybe I think it's important to have a good leadership skills, which is something that I think almost every one of us is holding inside. Just need to, just not think about it, and then it surfaces. So
Yeah.
it's important, and yeah, that would definitely be a major growth lever, and we see it already on Substack for sure.
I
Um,
also want to mention briefly, we are here at the Vault, me and the Gremlins have agreed and are continuing to promote our 30-day free trial for the first 100 paid subscribers because I want people to get full exposure to everything that the Vault has to offer that's behind the paywall. So I just wanted to add that there. I've been promoting it in the post, but I wanted to let people know if and you don't have to be a supernatural or horror writer, even regular writers are more than welcome.
or you can be
Yeah.
a reader, basically a
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, anybody.
yeah, yeah. So guys, if you love supernatural kind of type of fiction, or even true stories like Bill is sharing already, make sure that you subscribe to Bill's publication. I think it's amazing. Yeah, it's really, you get spooked and scared, and also hooked. I really love that genre. Right. Okay. Anything else you plan to introduce to your Substack?
Uh, yeah, I just don't know when. They're ideas that are floating in my head. I guess I can share them because they're not concrete yet, though.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do plan on making more how should I say, maybe courses and ebooks for supernatural writers that I'll share on
Yeah.
the Vault.
Yeah.
Uh, that they could that will help them become better supernatural writers. Another thing that I've been tinkering with
Yeah.
is the idea of offering ghostwriting services
All right.
through
Okay.
yeah, like for people who are looking for a ghostwriter, because some people would rather just have someone write the story for them. And I've done that before, ghostwriting. So it was something I was thinking of offering down the road on the Vault of the Supernatural, you know?
You got me thinking. I once came across a business model of so there was some company. I think it was quite small company, but they were basically offering writers to the ability to, so the writer just gives the idea to this company, and this company is taking the idea, writes a book. So they have ghostwriters, right? So they write the book, do a research with keywords, do the designs, upload it to Amazon, describe
Uh,
it, make it a bestseller, and then they revenue share with the writer. it's, it's
That's
really
pretty, yeah, I worked for a few companies where I did those services. I didn't do the designing and all, I just did the writing. And that was another thing. And I've written about it here on Substack too. I was thinking about a course on it. You got to be careful when you're a ghostwriter or you're writing for someone else because there's a lot of unfortunate scams out there where you can get tricked into something. So I was thinking about writing a course about that too for subscribers.
yes. Anything
You
that
know.
your audience, I think it's a great idea. And with courses, the good thing about Substack is that you could build them kind of, in public and publish piece by piece, so it becomes like something that people could expect every week, and it's really great. A
Oh
great.
yeah, that's a good idea too. I never even thought about that. That is a really good idea, piece by piece.
Yeah, so you don't have to build it the whole thing. You just announce it and then start building it. Paywall, see how people reacted. I like to call that my Substack sandbox for because I look at Substack paid subscriptions like as a product sandbox, because where I can test ideas of new
Hmm.
products. And this is the way, basically. So I give it there, I publish it, and if people resonate and use it and then give me some good feedback, then I build something more on top of it. And yeah,
Like that idea. And then you could, like you said, you could put it so much before the paywall and then the juicy stuff behind the paywall
exactly.
and then see how that responds with people. That is a really good idea. Um, that brings me to another point. Not that I'm putting anything behind paywall for this idea, but I'm also developed a new section on the Vault last week. It's called, what's it called? Dark Tales from the Vault.
Right.
And that's, yeah, I think that's what I have it titled. It's all my uh, short stories and novellas and novels that I've written, and what that's going to be every Monday. Right now, I'm working on a story called The Reveal, where I discuss the famous Rowena. Well, no, Rowena is the evil grandmother, and then the famous Willow.
Right.
Uh, the grandmother's a witch, and she is upset that her granddaughter's having this baby, and all kinds of uh craziness goes on. But I read a little bit of the story of what I've written, and then via podcast on here, and then I put it on that little section there. I'm serializing it. So, and that way to give people something to come back for every week. That's something new. And that'll be every Monday on the Vault. And that's for everybody.
For a newsletter, I think it's one of the best practices out there to serialize, and also you could turn it into a book after that very easily and
Hmm.
publish on Amazon and so on. So
Hmm.
great. Okay. Okay. Um, if you had to start your Substack all over again, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? I,
Nothing is also an answer, just so you know.
what's that?
If you say
Which,
nothing, it's also a good answer. So
yeah, yeah. If I had to start all over again, um, I probably would research more to have a better understanding of everything the different different tools that we have that we can use and everything. I do feel I did research, but I probably would do more, you
Yeah.
know, um, and just get an idea. I mean, I feel I have an idea now, but I mean, a better idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, just maybe take it a little slower and just research one thing at a time and break it down,
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's really important. I started exactly with this, with research. I wanted to understand what are the other bestsellers doing and how did
That's my other thing. I review what other people are doing too. That's
yeah,
important.
how did they become bestsellers. And then when I did this research, I actually realized that this common advice that you should go with one email weekly is actually not working, because I think almost all of the newsletters that I checked, all of the bestsellers were posting very often, some of them even daily.
Yeah, that's why I was doing daily, but I do 5 times a week now, which I think is good.
But yeah,
Um, yeah, I believe more is better than less, because it keeps your name out there, in the Substack space.
yeah. No, I mean, it's a quality game, and if you can make it a quantity out of quality, then then that's something that you have already, but it's kind of difficult. So I also figured for myself, you just master the quality and then you scale to bring more quantity if you can, if you can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for sure. And yeah, I was actually someone I read something from someone as a strategy recently that so they are posting daily, like so they're using Substack as a blog, so they're posting on the website, but not sending an email, and then the email only goes to the subscribers once a week,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
interesting to explore. I'm not sure how how would that work, but it's also there.
Yeah.
So for anyone who is concerned from sending too much emails to their subscribers, that could be an option as well.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard people talk about this recently
Yeah,
about that. Hmm.
yeah,
I
definitely.
never had anyone really complain about, to me about how many emails. I mean, so far it hasn't come to my attention.
Yeah.
Um, but I could see how that could be a good theory though, a good way of
Yeah,
doing it.
it could be definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, I have to test it for myself because I have some doubts about how, or concerns how it could work, because in order to get more distribution of your posts, you need to have some initial engagement, and that initial engagement, so that would be right after posting, and that initial engagement comes from your subscribers, actually from sending this email. So I'm not sure, maybe if you have, maybe if big part of your audience comes from the app, then maybe that could be a solution, because maybe some of them will, or a big part of them will see it in the app and then interact with it and engage with it. But I don't know, I have to test. Honestly,
Mhm. For sure. Yeah.
it's an interesting theory. All right, best productivity tips. Can you share your productivity? How are you so productive? You really produce a lot and it's really good.
Uh, well, what I
On
do
the side of
is,
your 9 to 5 job, right? Just like me.
yeah, yeah, productivity. So, um, well, like I said, I make a schedule
Yeah.
and then I use Notion. I put like what I like I say, this is still a work in progress. It's far from perfect, but this is what I try to use to keep me somewhat on task. I use Notion to plan out the articles and content that I'm going to write throughout the week. I try to plan that either on Saturday or Sunday, normally Sunday. I'm a day behind. I'll have to do that today, but I plan it in there. And
Yeah.
then I also use Trello, which I
Oh,
love.
okay.
I use Trello because I put in, I take my daily writing schedule that I have written in Notion, which is my master schedule, and I align it with Trello and I say, okay, I got to do this today. I got to do, and I just move them. They're little bars, little boxes you move over because you could, I use a template that says stuff to do today, stuff to do tomorrow, waiting, or this week. So I just, and then the inbox. The inbox is where you create all your stuff. And then I just write anything that's new in the inbox. Most of them are already in there because I do them daily. And I just organize my template, my daily schedule template in Trello, align it with what I have written for my master writing schedule in Notion.
Yeah.
And then I use Notion to see which articles and everything I'm doing. That's what I kind of do. And then I also now figure out that I kind of have a set template that I use for my articles, and I will put them in my OneNote here. That's how I structure my posts, and I just fill in the blanks with research or whatever that I'm
That's great. Yeah,
and
that's
then
really
I,
great.
tweak it and then put it in a post, That's basically how I do it, in a
Right.
nutshell.
But do you plan to share your Notion templates with your audience?
Oh yeah, sure.
Some of the templates that you can share as to help them stay productive. Actually, I just got an idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have a template that I use, for my daily posts.
Yeah.
Uh, this one is my regular post structure. I did have another one I was using, but I don't think I'm going to be using that one. I'm actually going to move it out now.
Yeah.
Uh, but this one is called my regular post structure. I could send that out in a post. It's written from a supernatural point.
Paid subscriber benefit or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I could do that. That's actually a really good idea. Something I'll write down for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, because I never even thought about that. But yeah, and for especially anyone else that's on Substack trying to grow their community as well, and it
Yeah, yeah, of
helps.
course. Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
No, I'm asking because that's why I have this question here on my spotlight, because I want to hear other writers how they are organizing their work, and because I get a lot of questions about how I organize my work, especially along to my 9 to 5. I have a full-time job, and I don't. Yes, I'm very much organized as a person, and that comes as a skill which I trained in my job for so many years. But with my online business, in my writing, I'm not really. I just sit down and write, But you are very organized. You have templates.
I know, I know. I have to write things down. I have to
Yes,
have a schedule. I got to align it. It's got to be. I even have this book here. I'll show
yes,
you. It's called The Clever Fox. I've mentioned this maybe in a post, I can't remember, but highly recommend this. I only paid, I'm not promoting for the company, I'm just saying because, and they have different ones on Amazon.
right.
This one was $34, but what I'm saying is it gives you all kinds of things in here to set your goals and daily rituals. I have
Okay,
affirmations, and you
okay.
could write down your schedule and everything in there. I just use that too, in addition to, yeah, I know I'm super anal about organization, but it's just how I am.
I love that. It's really helpful actually. Because
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Uh,
I just have to have structure. I think it comes from working in a school for many years because
maybe.
everything, when you're in education, everything's got to be, this is lunch. Now we're doing spelling. Now we're doing that. I think that's where it comes from. Everything has to be, you
Yeah.
know.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Yeah, you beat me on that. I think you are the most organized person I ever that question actually. It's great. Amazing. All right.
Try to be.
Yeah, you have to share your templates. You have
I
to.
will for sure.
Okay. Moving to the next question. How about recommending some books? You already mentioned some, but maybe to summarize them and some new books that have really influenced your life.
Yeah, in general, yeah, sure. I recommend Stephen King's book on writing. which is really good. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
Yes,
it's a
I
really,
have it.
really
I
good.
think I have it on my phone. Yes.
Yeah, I've read it once, maybe twice. It's a really good book on writing, and he really breaks it down and shares, the concepts of writing and everything. And it doesn't have, you don't have to be a horror writer just to enjoy that book, but that's a good book. Mr. Watson's Crybaby is another one that I mentioned, of course. It's a really, really, really good book. I'm almost done it. Uh,
What is it about this book?
Oh, the Crybaby, yeah, it's about an elephant that goes rogue. When we talked yesterday,
Yeah.
I told him it sort of reminds me the way he has it outlined and everything, with the guy that's in charge of the village is
Okay.
kind of like a bad guy and a good guy because he's the mayor, but he also leads a gang of bandits on the side. But he builds this watchtower to look for the elephant. Reminds me of Jaws. Remember in the first Jaws, how the guy and he admitted to it because he loves Jaws, Mark Watson, and he developed it according to that, and uh, yeah, it's a really, really good book. His characters are like on point. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Very good action-packed book, and with great characterization.
Yeah, now I have to check it. Okay.
Yeah, Crybaby,
Right.
Crybaby, really good.
Any other book?
Um, I do have a friend that writes, but I haven't read any of her stuff. But my friend Janice Lamb
Yeah.
has some books out there on her Amazon. She came up with some blurb books that are really good. Let me see if I can find the name of it though. Uh, yeah, I'd have to look, but she has some really good blurb books. Oh, here they are. What's it called? I'm gonna pull it up to give you the name in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, it's me
It's
do
okay. No,
this.
you can send it, and I will share with my.
Yeah, it's Blurbs That Sell Horror and Supernatural Fiction Edition. But yeah, I'll message you with that, so you could see it. Yeah, it's a really good book for supernatural writers,
Yeah.
and it helps you, uh, write blurbs that sell. She's really good at what she does. She helped me with my short story collection a few months back and helped me compose a really awesome blurb. The blurb's the most difficult part
Yeah.
when you're putting together any book for sure.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Yeah, I think it's really important.
Hmm.
So it should be definitely helpful. Right. Last question. If money was not an issue, what would you do?
Girl, I would be retired. This Discover equipment would go right back. Thank you for the opportunity. I am retired and I will write full time and work on my Substack and my fiction. That's my dream goal, actually, anyways, to retire early. But if I had the money and money wasn't an option, that's where I would be.
We see that's actually what you're doing already.
Yes, yes, I'm working towards that goal. But if I had the money now, the goal would be
Fingers crossed.
achieved.
Yes. Fingers crossed.
Yes, because
Well,
yeah, yeah, that's my really been for a while now.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Bill. I think it was an amazing conversation, and people
It
will love it,
was.
for sure, especially fans of supernatural stuff and fiction. So, once more, guys, please make sure you subscribe to Bill's publication. It's amazing, especially if you are a fiction writer, and especially if you are also a supernatural writer. But also, if you just simply love supernatural stories, like someone like me, like, for example. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for.
You're welcome, Miss Shauna. Thank you for having me, and you have a wonderful day.
Join me for a spotlight session like this. All you need to do is to join one of my monthly challenges, either notes or writing. Stay consistent and make sure you add yourself to the accountability tracker. Oh, and you have to be one of my paid members. If you complete just one of those challenges in just one single month, it's highly probable that I will select you for a spotlight session so that you can Talk about yourself, share your personal story, and spread the word about your Substack so that more people will learn about it and hopefully become your subscribers. I distribute those sessions to my entire subscriber list on Substack, ConvertKit, NowKit, and my Medium account and my social media channels. It's easy to win those challenges, and all you need to do is just to stay consistent. I see you inside.